Here's a question for you, Thorin. If we bring back our conversation from last week about what would happen if Bjergsen was on Fnatic at Worlds, given the TSM underperformance and the Fnatic overperformance, does it cancel each other out? I mean, I really want to know the answer to that question.
I mean, the reason why that topic, by the way, is so fucking delicious is because I'm one of the people who for years has tried to argue that in team sports, you can't just judge the player by the end result of the team because, like, the team can obviously overwhelm your individual performance. That's why, I know people don't believe it, but some of the really great players in League of Legends just never were on the top teams as they never had the championships. Like, I'm sure people know until he came to the G2 with Caps, Jankos never won a fucking LEC title, ever. Are you going to tell me in those years he wasn't a top player? Of course he was amazing, but he just wasn't on the right team. So I'm totally in favour with the idea that you can be amazing, but your team couldn't perform. Problem is, if you're one of the fans, and it's most people who believe that, like, you know, after, say, like 1 or 2 times, it must be you as well. So, for example, TSM fans loved to laugh at Doublelift all those years where he didn't get out of groups. Even when he was in Team Liquid, they laughed at him. Well, by that logic, Bjergsen's one of the biggest failures of all time. He isn't, by the way. He's still a very good player. I do think he has been somewhat underwhelming at Worlds. I'll throw that in. But even then, it's not like, here's the difference between Bjergsen and other players. He never, like, hard-inted. He never, like, chain-fed whole games. Some players do that when they fail. He just underwhelmed. Like, he didn't pop off, basically. You want to see him have games like Caps does, where he just takes over the game and can win you it. So, in that sense, like, I do think Bjergsen is to blame for some of it, but, like, it's just their own fans set them up on that one, mate. You can't say that, like, oh, you're a failure if you don't get out of groups, and then your own guy does it, like, fucking 5 times. Are you kidding me? Get out of my face.
But I mean, from if you look at Bjergsen as a player, then he would definitely fit into the role.
I think he'd be awesome for Fnatic.
Absolutely. I mean, he's probably one of the most stable players. I mean,
Yes.
maybe there's even the discussion of whether or not the 2 carries or like mid and ADC Reckless and Bjergsen are too stable in a way. In a hypothetical world where they were on the same team, that's a little bit uncertain. I think you can't take away the fact that Nemesis and Selfmade have been playing together for so long, and they are working. Even though maybe in game it doesn't show that they're working well together, they have kind of accepted the two guys' play styles. So like Nemesis is
you
okay
say that, right? I agree with you now. If we're talking about this moment, Cold, I'll agree with you. But in my opinion, kind of like how TSM had to change once they got to playoffs to actually win LCS. In my opinion, Fnatic only figured that out after fucking playoffs. Like, they spent the whole year thinking Nemesis is supposed to be some superstar mid laner, and then they were making, like, Selfmade replace Broxah. Like, in a world where of the two, it's like Selfmade helps Nemesis, that team is shit. That's the team that almost didn't make playoffs. The team where they, like Monty was saying, draft around and play around Selfmade, that team looks fucking really good, actually. Like, that's who Fnatic looks like now. So I agree with you today. I think they figured it out. But I actually think they had that, like, dynamic off when they first came in the team, though.
I mean, it's I get your what you're saying, but I mean it can also be from like a team perspective. You know, maybe we have to change up the way we play because if we want to be the best possible team we can be, then we need to be able to play different styles.
Sure.
I think beforehand they in the start of summer they were playing with Selfmade as the main carry. You know, I think. I don't know if you recall, but there were games where he played Graves and they were playing Soraka bot lane where they would just funnel all gold onto him. So it's not like they didn't try that before. It's just they have set their way now, and I think at least from the outside it looks like they have a good relationship between the two of them, so that they both of them understand each other and they accept that this is the way we play and they buy into it. So I think maybe you wouldn't have the same from Bjergsen in that sense. Maybe he would like to be the carry. I actually when I'm saying this, I actually think Bjergsen would be able to adapt to whatever whatever is needed because he's a guy that just wants to win. So I think it wouldn't be a problem.
Put it this way, based on things,
it's an interesting take, you know.
Put it this way, I've literally heard from people who know Bjergsen, like, to this date, that actually, if anything, they think that's one of his biggest problems in TSM, is that he tries to be, like, the best teammate by just being a band-aid for the others. And, like, sometimes, I would like him to do this. Like in this particular world, just pick the strongest champion for you and take over the game, mate. That's what would have been best for you. Like this stupid shit of like, I'm going to play Zillion, so then this guy in this other role, it's like that never worked. Like that plan was a bad idea, which that's where actually trying to be a good teammate can actually ruin you if you're the potential star player. Like you have to take, it's like this. It's like if you're a parent, the best way you can help your kid is take care of your own life first. Like if your job's gone to shit, your health's gone to shit, like you can't help anyone at that point in time. You have to be in a good position before you can help the other person. So I think, in my opinion, when you're a star player, it's the same. I know normally we try and talk stars down because too many of them are the other way. They're too selfish, you know, like they just want their pick even if it doesn't make sense in the comp. I feel like someone like Bjergsen, because of TSM's problems over the years, I think he went too far the other way. I want this guy to come back to being a star player.
Well, also just knowing him as a person, he's like extremely introspective, extremely like he's a pretty easygoing, thoughtful guy, and so I think his
Shia told me he was easygoing as fuck. You know, it's really cool to be around. He likes to make space for people, make them feel included, comfortable. He likes to share out the objectives around the map. No, whatever. Keep going.
He just, in my experience, he doesn't have a huge ego, which honestly in this scenario is kind of a problem because
so actually maybe he would work with Reckless there, Cole, because obviously Reckless's enormous ego would just, you know, it would just go right up to where Bjergsen is. He's got a tiny little ego. Together the two of them would be fine.
Yeah, I just think like in Bjergsen's case, he's probably too willing to give up, like to give up control or to try and like help
perfect
his
TSM mid laner.
So
I get it. He means like give up like control. That's it.
Yeah, give up control or like try and play a different role within the team so that he can help his teammates to address flaws in the game instead of being as demanding that the team play around him. So I think it's really just knowing him that's certainly a scenario that it could go, and perhaps that isn't the kind of attitude that TSM needs in order to be effective.